Cryptocurrencies are a bit of a paradox. On one hand, they are built on a foundation of being permissionless, which means that no government can stop us from using cryptocurrencies to spend our money however we like, whether that's for something good or something bad. At the same time, most cryptocurrencies are completely traceable, which means that when we are taking advantage of this permissionless feature to give the finger to the government knows exactly who we are and what we're doing. So cryptocurrencies aren't exactly the engine of economic liberation that many people make them out to be. And in today's video, I want to make the argument that governments will attempt to co-opt the benefits of cryptocurrencies and use them for their own advantage. Specifically, every road in the cryptocurrency world leads to a central bank digital currency, whether we like it or not. Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm the Part-Time Economist, and in today's video we are talking all about the paradox between cryptocurrencies being decentralized and permissionless, but also completely traceable. I'm going to share my thoughts on what this means and why I think every road in cryptocurrency leads to a CBDC. Before we get started, I do want to say this is obviously not a financial advice video. It's just the random thoughts that go around in my head. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, to understand why I'm making this video, we need to understand that cryptocurrencies really have a couple key features. One of them is that they are permissionless. This is a key selling point of cryptocurrencies. Now, I will argue that in the vast majority of cases, this is used for good things. We see in Afghanistan, for example, women that are not allowed to own a bank account. They are using Bitcoin. They are using this as a means of economic self-sufficiency to give them independence. Now, let's be very clear. We are looking at this and we say this is good. This to us, the Western world, we look at this as a good thing. It doesn't change the fact that the reason they're using cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is because it's not allowed for them to have these bank accounts, right? They're essentially doing something that the government doesn't like, and they're being enabled, they're being facilitated to do this through cryptocurrency, right? So the permissionless aspect there is helping them. We've heard the stories of people that flee a war zone, right, with their cryptocurrency. Again, we would argue that refugees, they're entitled to keep their economic possessions. However, the reason they're doing this is because their government is not letting them take out their cash. So again, they are operating outside of what is allowed, right? Again, we would say it's a good violation of the rules in this example, but they're still doing something that's not allowed, and they're being able to do that through the power of cryptocurrency. I would say, we have to be honest, there are a small number percentage-wise of transactions that are used for bad things, right? The government says financing terrorists and money laundering is bad. Well, guess what? Cryptocurrency allows us to do this. The key takeaway here is that with cryptocurrency being permissionless, the only reason that being permissionless matters is if we're doing something that's not allowed in the first place, right? So if I'm allowed to open a bank account, I have no need of a permissionless way of opening a bank account. If I'm trying to move my capital across country boundaries and I'm allowed to do this, there's no reason for me to have a permissionless way of doing it. So the entire argument of cryptocurrencies being permissionless is only important if we're doing something that we're not supposed to be doing. And again, keep in mind when I say that we're not supposed to be doing, sometimes that not supposed to be doing can be something morally good. Sometimes it can be morally bad. I'm not making a values judgment. I'm just saying it's being used for something we're not supposed to do, which takes me to the point of cryptocurrencies being traceable. If we're doing something that we're not supposed to be doing, right? Whether it is morally good, such as helping women to gain economic self-sufficiency, right? That's a moral good, but it's illegal. Or something bad, right? So money laundering is obviously illegal. It is also a moral bad, I would say. If we're doing something that is not allowed, why would we want to use an asset that is traceable, right? So whether we are a refugee fleeing, whether we are a woman in a developing country, again, we don't want to be using something that's traceable because it's opening us up to risk. So my key argument here is that cryptocurrencies, so long as they are traceable, don't really fulfill this idea of emancipating people from corrupt systems, because true, the government can't stop you from doing this thing. However, they can come, they can find you, they can throw you in jail, they can do whatever to you, right? If we truly wanted cryptocurrencies to liberate people from these corrupt systems, then they would need to be completely untraceable, right? Because what's the point of doing something if you're going to get caught and punished? So that would be the kind of libertarian argument for true personal freedom. However, we see all across the world, governments do not like that idea. Specifically, we see crackdowns on privacy coins. These are cryptocurrencies like Monero, right? That are designed from the ground up to be anonymous. You don't know where the money's coming, where the money's going. Also, mixing services like Tornado Cash in the United States. This was a service that would basically get cryptocurrency from lots of different people. It mixes it together, and then that way, you don't know the cryptocurrency that you own, whether it has come from illegal activities, legal activities. You can't trace where the funds have come from. Again, the government very handily cracking down there. So we clearly see the government isn't really averse to the idea of you being able to do what you want with your cryptocurrency, as long as they know what you're doing and they can come punish you accordingly. So this leads me into the second point of the video, where I think governments are going to try and co-opt cryptocurrency to use it for their specific advantage. And we already see some examples of this. Specifically, if we look at the Ethereum blockchain with the merge to Ethereum 2.0, we see more and more blocks, or essentially groups of transactions on the Ethereum blockchain, are being censored to comply with OFAC. So OFAC is, I don't know the exact acronym, but it's basically the US government says, hey, don't send money to these countries, these kind of activities, right? Even cryptocurrency, something that's supposed to be permissionless, we see increasing censorship. So I do not believe there's ever going to be a case in which you're going to have a truly private cryptocurrency. Yes, you could create one in your own basement and do your own thing, but I would imagine this is something that's not ever going to be officially approved of. It's always going to be kind of looked at negatively, and at some point there may be penalties. What I think is far more likely, and we kind of see this already starting to take shape, the government wants the benefits of cryptocurrency. Specifically, it likes the idea that it can be centrally controlled and that it can all be tracked. In the case of the United States, there is another impetus for a central bank digital currency, which is being able to export dollars more widely across the world. So if we look at stablecoins specifically, stablecoins are, generally speaking, created in US dollars, and people around the world can purchase them, which means if you are in a developing country, a country that doesn't have a stable currency, you can use these stablecoins. You can protect yourself. You can benefit from it. However, it's also a massive benefit to the US government, because remember that we can print US dollars. We are the only country that can print US dollars. So if these stablecoins are backed one-to-one by either US dollars in a bank account, treasury bonds, doesn't matter, as long as it's a government financial instrument, essentially this allows the United States to print more dollars to export them, right? So it allows us to export our inflation. It allows us to print dollars, spread the dollar, and get those goods and services just by firing up our printing press. So from the US perspective, there is a very strong benefit to increasing stablecoin adoption, specifically as denominated in US dollars. And this is why I say that all roads in cryptocurrency lead to CBDCs, because from a government standpoint, they confer all of the advantages of cryptocurrency with none of the disadvantages of cryptocurrency. So let's look at this frequently asked questions from the United States Federal Reserve and see what they're thinking about when it comes to central bank digital currencies. So what are the benefits of a CBDC? It could offer a range of benefits. It could provide households and businesses a convenient electronic form of central bank money with the safety and liquidity that would entail. Look here specifically. It is a form of central bank money. Give entrepreneurs a platform on which to create new financial products and services, support faster and cheaper payments, including cross-border payments, right? So the idea here, we are exporting dollars and expand consumer access to the financial system. What are the risks of CBDC? I don't really see anything we need to cover there. What principles should guide the Federal Reserve's consideration of a CBDC? It should provide benefits, obviously yield benefits. Key point here, protect against criminal activity, right? And again, this in and of itself is a good goal, right? I'm not here saying, oh yeah, we need more criminal activity. How are they going to do this though? It's going to be done through monitoring, right? It's going to be done through centralized control and the ability to censor these transactions. We already see this with the pressure to delist privacy coins. We see this with the pressure to shut down Tornado Cash, right? All of these privacy enhancing things, the government doesn't like it. So if they're building their own CBDC from the ground up, they're gonna build it with the ability to track and censor transactions. Specifically, if we go down to point 8, we can see financial institutions in the U.S. are subject to robust rules that are designed to combat money laundering and financing of terrorism. A CBDC would need to be designed to comply with these rules. In practice, this would mean that a CBDC intermediary would need to verify the identity of a person accessing CBDC, just as banks and other financial institutions currently verify the identities of their customers. So, a central bank digital currency gives the government everything that it wants. It gives them the control over the money supply. It gives them the ability to censor transactions. It gives them the ability to fight on crime, money laundering, right? And again, I think most of us think these are good things. The point that I'm trying to make, however, is that from the standpoint of a government, right? Think of yourself as a government. A CBDC just makes sense. You get all the benefits of stable coins, right? So you can export US dollars, you can devise these new financial products, but it also gives you the control. So as of right now, we see a lot of private stable coins that are being issued. In the future though, I really do see the government creating its own CBDC. There's just everything there for the government. They get the control, they get the ability to censor transactions, they get to fight crime, they get to fight money laundering, they get to have a more direct control over the money supply, the ability to manipulate it, and we still get to export US dollars abroad. So I definitely see this as a distinct possibility in the future, and specifically more than any other country, I think this is important for the United States because the United States has the dollar. We have the world reserve currency. If the CBDC is more efficient, it allows people to do more things, and the US is late to the party, people might start using other CBDCs, right? So we could run into a situation where the US lags behind the party and people are saying, hey, I want to use the US dollar. I'm in a country with high inflation. I want US dollars, but I don't trust Tether. I don't trust whatever other stablecoin, right? USDC. I want something backed by a government. I can use Euro, right? I'm fine with the European Union. I'll use a government-issued CBDC from the EU. It's not as good as the dollar, but it's better than my local currency, and it's backed by a government, right? So if the US is slow to the party to adopt these CBDCs, I could see other countries using that to their advantage to kind of build up demand for their own currencies. So key takeaway, I know I touched on a lot of different points in this video. A couple key things. Number one, cryptocurrencies are not the libertarian freedom that many people advocate them to be. If they were, they would have been designed from the ground up to be completely untraceable. The ability to do something bad only to essentially be reporting on yourself makes no sense. So I don't see them as freeing us in that respect. Secondly, we see the government across the world really already cracking down on even attempts to make cryptocurrencies more private. They don't like that. Third, there are significant benefits specifically to the United States of being able to export dollars. Therefore, my central argument, the conclusion of all of this, is that a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, is something the government is going to work towards developing. It gives them too many advantages. They get to continue exporting dollars, but they get to do it with a product that they control, that they can use, that they can censor, and that they can adjust the monetary supply to work towards their specific policy objectives. I think there's just too much on the table for them not to pursue this. I just wanted to share that my long-term goal is to become a full-time self-employed content creator. And as part of that, I teach a number of courses on both Udemy and Skillshare, everything from business to leadership, statistics, data analysis, video editing, and I'm adding more courses all the time. If you're considering learning something, I'd really appreciate if you check out my links. It costs nothing else to you, and from time to time, these platforms will offer benefits if you sign up for the courses using my links. Thanks for all the support, and with that being said, let's get back to the video. So again, that's just me rambling, sharing my thoughts. It's not financial advice. It doesn't reflect the opinions of anyone else, but I do hope you found the video useful, and I'll see you next time.